People should not be afraid to criticize the government.
What's your name?
They call me Benny Bustamadres.
5 reasons to be a state police officer in Nuevo Mexico. Number 1, so you can show off your shoulder patch at the library bar and grill.
All right, and we're here. We met you here at the Santa Fe court. What are you here for?
I'm here for wearing a state police uniform to make a TikTok video.
Number 2, so you could get free food at the All Subs Jale.
I heard that they got you for impersonating a police officer. Did you beat your wife?
Number 3, so you could sneak in the burner phones to your homies at the MDC.
So that's what they said, is that they got, but it really is, what the charge is unauthorized wearing of a uniform, and they're calling it impersonating a police officer, which is not true.
Number 4, so you can turn your lapel camera on and off whenever you want. Number 5, free blues from the evidence room. Fuck yeah.
So as he said, they didn't actually charge him with impersonating a police officer. That would be wrong, and we see it regularly. People pretend to be cops and go out and pull people over or whatever. But that's not what he did. He simply put on a costume and did a skit in the privacy of a closed building.
If I put on a play tomorrow, and my play is about the state police, and they dress and look like state police officers, all of my actors could be charged. Does that sound like a statute you'd like it to exist in New Mexico?
But I called Amanda Richards with the New Mexico State Police, who's prosecuting him, to tell her that maybe she should upgrade the charges to impersonating a police officer rather than just wearing a costume. Hello?
Hello, is this Jim?
Yeah.
Hello, is this Jim? Hi, Jim. This is Officer Richards, New Mexico State Police. Our dispatch center said that you were requesting a phone call.
Yeah. I've got some information on a case that I think you're working on.
Okay, what case would that be?
I don't know what the case number is, but it's the TikToker that was wearing the police uniform. You're still prosecuting that, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think you could probably hit him, not just with that, but possibly with impersonating a police officer as well. Would you like me to explain?
And who, I'm sorry, who are you, Jim?
It's Jim Johnson. My friends call me Grande. I work with government to try to suppress people's rights. And I noticed that in the video, he's talking about doing things such as sneaking burner phones into the jail and stealing evidence from the evidence room. And I think that that would probably cross the line of impersonating a police officer, as those are things that are documented that police officers do. I think you could hit him with the impersonating a police officer just for talking about doing things that cops do, such as sneaking burner phones in and stealing drugs from the evidence room. What do you think?
Okay, Jim, is this all you had to say, or is there anything else?
Well, I'm trying to
Because
help.
I'm no longer interested in pursuing this conversation.
Ma'am, I'm trying to help you stomp on people's rights. Are you just going to dismiss me? You don't need to be dismissive and rude. Alden isn't the only one in New Mexico to wear a police officer uniform while not being a police officer. He's just the only one to ever be charged for it. We've got this photograph of a child even wearing the uniform out in public, but the police failed to charge this child with a crime. So what was the difference between what Alden did and what the child did? The difference is that the child was trying to show respect for the uniform in the New Mexico State Police, and Alden was making a mockery of the state police. And speaking of people who dress up like cops, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. He's in his 80s now, still kicking butt, working out, and staying active. What's even more shocking is that he's stronger, can work out longer, and still has energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by making just one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body is leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/James or by clicking the link below in this video. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/James. And click the link in the description below to watch the video now. The legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 81 years old, and yet he has more energy than me. He discovered that he could create dramatic changes to his health by simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our bodies as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link to the video in the description below. That's chuckdefense.com/James. Alden is a comedian with over 100,000 followers on his TikTok channel, Get the Stick. That's get.the.stick.
You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Simon Patron, I promise, Hoyle, that cuate wasn't even mine, your majesty. I was just holding it from my primos from Burke, bro. I put that
And you may say, James, why would you assume that they chose to charge this guy based on the fact that they were offended, not necessarily the fact that he wore the uniform? And I would say to you, because the police officer articulated that in her report. Officer Amanda Richards, badge number 6665, stated in her report that she only contacted Alden to get the police uniform back and to let him know that his videos were offensive. She stated in her own report that she had no intention of charging him, just getting the uniform back and demanding that he take the offensive videos down. It was when he refused to take the videos down that triggered Officer Amanda Richards that Amanda decided to file charges. A quote from her report says, "I explained to Alden that the videos were upsetting, as New Mexico State police officers are prideful about our uniform, and none of the things said or portrayed in his videos align with the New Mexico State Police's policies or values." And so while the New Mexico State Police Intelligence Agency has still failed to track down and cite this child for wearing the same uniform, Alden is facing a misdemeanor charge, and as the officer stated, not so much for wearing the uniform as for making a mockery of her super serious government organization.
Carnal! I've been over here throwing jale for the Juras. Give me like $50 and I'll get you Hito out of the bote. Fuck yeah.
They call me Benny Bustamadres. My real name is Alden.
So Alden, who goes by Benny Bustamadres on TikTok, showed up with his son, Benny Jr., to fight for his rights.
Fuck yeah, Hoyo. Tomorrow we're gonna fight for Benny's rights. Santa Fe Magistrate Courthouse. Tomorrow, March 4th, 10 a.m. Fuck yeah.
Under the set of facts that the state has alleged, no crime has occurred, and they're seeking to punish someone for their free speech.
We spotted Benny with his son riding on his shoulders outside of Magistrate Court, where he was appearing for his arraignment and also announcing that he will be suing the New Mexico State Police for retaliating against him for his free speech and his comedy, because they don't think his jokes are funny.
And so what are we going to have? We're going to have comedians and artists who are going to think twice about saying something negative about the government. And we need, especially right now, when we're seeing things in Albuquerque and other places where we see the need to critique and evaluate the practices of government. As a former prosecutor, I would imagine that they have other more important cases to prosecute. But if they insist on prosecuting a comedian for a joke they didn't like, then we are going to stand up for Mr. Hamdi's rights and for the rights of all artists and comedians in New Mexico. Because make no mistake, if officers are allowed to punish comedians for jokes they don't like, they will continue to do so. So we have to ensure that this case goes no further. And the way we do that is we fight the case in the magistrate court. We fight the charges, but we additionally file civil rights action against the New Mexico State Police.
People are wondering again why they're taking the time to do something when there's major crime going on.
There are real things to be investigating. We would be willing to take this as far as it would go because we're so confident that the statute of which Mr. Hamdi is being charged is not only unconstitutional, but unenforceable. If I put on a play tomorrow, and my play is about the state police, and they dress and look like state police officers, all of my actors could be charged. Does that sound like a statute you'd like it to exist in New Mexico? People should not be afraid to criticize the government. And that's what this does. It's a maximum 6 months in jail, which is one of the lowest crimes you can be charged with. But I would venture to say that anybody who went to jail for 6 months, their life would be drastically altered. I'm saying that the charge cannot exist under the Constitution. That it is overly broad, it is vague, it lends itself to this type of application. That you can use it to enforce it upon people you don't like, or jokes you don't like. I think I showed Mr. Hamdi this morning a picture of a small child in a New Mexico State Police uniform. Is he going to be charged with this crime? No, because they like that. And the government doesn't get to decide what kind of speech gets to be charged with crimes. That is the foundational principle of not only the federal Constitution, but the New Mexico Constitution, which has broader free speech protections.
I don't want any other comedian to be afraid to make videos like this. I don't want them to end up in the same position as me, so pretty much we're just here to talk about that and make sure that everyone else is free, has the freedom of speech and the freedom to create.
But to be honest, I can truly understand the frustrations that Officer Amanda Richards is probably feeling here. Benny simply put on the uniform and he's sitting here talking about using it to get free food, using it to sneak burner phones into the jail and to steal evidence from the evidence room, which is truly a gross misrepresentation of police. You can't just put on the clothes and get away with all this stuff, you had to first go through a 6-week training course. Links to Get the Stick, that's get.the.stick, are in the description and the pinned comments below. Make sure to head over and check them out, and we'll keep you updated on this case.